All right, guys, wait for me to hop in the van here. We're gonna do a quick live stream. Just wanted to update everyone on what's going on over here on the interior of the van. So the plan this weekend is we are finishing this microwave and fridge stack. We are actually getting into painting territory, which is pretty exciting. So I'll show you just a little sample of that, of what John and Susan picked out. It's going to look fantastic. So you guys can see that. Forgot what the color is, but I'll have to show it to you. Just been doing some test panels because I'm cutting out these upper panels on the left. So what those are, it's foam. So it's like an XPS foam, and we'll talk about that at the end of this video. Let's go ahead and jump right into the topic of this video, which is this L-track on top of this upholstered panel. So even though we're in the last final days of putting this van together, things that are going to be covered up that you guys won't see again, I want to cover really quick, because once this is all covered up and this build out is on here, you won't see behind the scenes of how this all comes together to create this seamless look. So what we want to do is just show you how it's done. All right, my head's going to be chopped off on this video, so, you know, just kind of bear with me. This is more of a behind the scenes quick video so we can get back to work. But what we have here is a piece of L-track. This L-track is going to be used to put dog leashes. So if you have, they want to have some dogs in the van, and this is a great way to kind of clip their leash on there and kind of keep them safely latched in an area in the van. Or you can put bags on here. You can do pretty much anything you want to with the L-track. Very versatile. And this L-track is going to be placed here. There's a section of it that's extending back behind here. I didn't cut that off because I might bolt into it to secure this cabinet, just as additional safety in the van. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this piece of L-track off, show you how it's mounted to the wall, and then some tips on what to think about when you're putting your upholstered panel together, so that when you get to this point, everything nice, very cleanly, looks professional. All the edges are nice. So we have a 5/16-18 button head cap screw that we're using. The 5/16-18 designates the riv nut that we're using. So if we take off this upholstered panel, you guys can see here that we have all of our Havelock wool. We have our sound deadening behind this Havelock wool. And then we have one line of power, 12-volt power, coming up to this light that you guys can't see. That's all we have back behind this panel. But while we have this off, let's show a couple things. If I peel this up a little bit, you'll see this is a riv nut hole. So that's a Ford factory hole. Now, I just realized I said 5/16-18. That is not the same as this. I believe this is I want to say 13 millimeter. This is the factory Ford rivet. And over here is the second factory Ford rivet. And so what we've done is we've made sure to notch out a spot so we can bolt into the chassis of the van and put our piece of L-track. And then what we're going to do later is we'll use supplemental screws in these additional holes just to bolt it to the wall. It's kind of killing two birds with one stone, where the hole that's pre-drilled from the L-track when you buy it, we don't want to bolt every single thing with a bolt. It's overkill. So for visual purposes, we're just going to fill this in with one of these stainless screws into each one of these. So not only will it go into the sheet metal and provide additional strength, but it'll make everything look really nice. So once you find the hole that you want, you got your piece of L-track, I always open up the holes much wider so that I've got some room. And if anything, if I need to close up that gap, say my head of my screw starts to go through it, I can always add a washer to this in the future. But I open it up really big because even me doing this professionally, you have so many layers that you have to contend with, and this alignment to the L-track alignment to the upholstered panel to any of the fabric, you need some wiggle room so that you're not stressing out that you're not going to put the bolt right where it needs to be. So I did that, and so the final part of this is the panel itself. So I'm going to flip this panel upside down because I want to show you guys the upholstered back here. And right here are these openings, these oval openings from AVC Rig. And what these openings do is they allow you to adjust and mount all kinds of things. So you can put L-track here or whatever you want. But these openings allow you to find out the center of where that hole is probably going to come out. And then what I do is I take a razor and I cut this, and then I just pop a screw through. And again, that gives me some more adjustability. So we got our sound deadening, we've got our Havelock insulation. These pieces of masking tape on the floor, they're letting me know where I'm going to be able to drill into once I cover this, and I'm not able to come back and have a visual reference. Let's see, where'd my piece of tape go? So I want to do one more piece of tape here. All right, I'm going to steal some tape off the wall since I don't move off camera. This piece of tape is showing us where our wall panel is going to come into. We're going to talk about that really quick at the end of this video. But find some tape and just put it in an area where you're either going to do like a sheet metal screw or something like that, just to help you with, if you have a cabinet and you want to bolt it into the wall, you know where you're going to drill the hole. Next, there's a depression here. So we want the piece of tape to show us where the highest part is, not the lowest part. If we drill into this lower part with the sheet metal screw, we're going to crack and split our wood because of this dip. So you don't want to do that. Keeping your van nice and light is good. However, when you do that, this 1/4-inch panel, it needs some help. You can't. It will split if you do drill something like that. So we have all our tape down. Next, what we're going to do is fit this panel into place. And one of the reasons I wanted to show you this is I'm not going to screw this panel in first. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to take my button head cap screws and I'm going to find the hole. I'm going to put these in here first. And I'm going to find where this is. I'm going to hand tighten it. And so what I want to, so this is where the visual stuff comes into play. There's going to be a jump seat here, plus, John and Susan are going to spend a lot of time in this area. And for me, I just want this corner over here to look as neat as possible. So I've got this intentionally resting on the bottom of the lawn seal. So it's not suspended up in the air like the panels in the back are, because those are going to be covered. This is going to be exposed, so this panel sits down on the bottom of the van, and that's going to allow you to have that super clean line, and just make it look really nice. And you see we have this little reveal here. That's why we upholstered behind these two panels, so that once we mount this in here, the reveal is very minimal. So now that we have this all put together, let's just go ahead and put it in. Now off camera, I'm going to take this back out. I'm going to put some Loctite in here so that they don't have to worry about this unscrewing over time. But for you guys, I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's pretty much put in. Okay. So we got that side, we got this side put in. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is that little hump that I was saying that's here. It's all over the van. So over here on this corner, if you guys can see, I think you can see on camera. Yeah. So this section right here, there's a dip that goes in, and it's about 1/4 of an inch. It's real subtle, but if the reason that this piece of L-track has been cut off is because there's this wall has a curve and then a slight bend in where the supports are. So when I go to screw this down, it's going to flex in there like that. Now, in person, that's going to look correct. It's going to match both panels, and the reveal is going to look like you would expect it to look. However, if I had kept this piece long, it's going to have this, it's going to look like it's poking out. So this has been taken off, and this is where that bend starts, and this is where it stops. So this is more of a visual thing to keep this bar where it's at. So now that this is tightened up, I can go in, follow my pieces of masking tape, follow these screw holes, and I can do my final mounting of this, and we can check this off our list. Let's hop on over to something that's going to look really cool, because this is when things come together very fast visually. And I'll move the camera here in just a second, but we got 2 more. We're scribing this to fit the radius of this wall, of the curvature of the wall. And this is how I make these panels that are just very, very custom. It's very hard, but it's also easier at the same time. Whereas if you're trying to make up for it with like foam and fabric, this is a more cleaner way to do it. So let me show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to move the camera up, and I'm just going to kind of pan from the top to the bottom so you guys can see what's going on here. Okay, so if we go right, okay, we're going to go up here and just bring this up. So if you can see, now don't pay attention to the, well, here, I'll show you inside the van. So when you're making these panels, don't worry about this edge. This depth, it doesn't matter. This contour right here is what matters the most. So you can see I've pretty much perfectly contoured it to the wall. And then once this gets painted, and I actually add a piece of felt, 1/2-inch felt tape to the back here, and that really makes everything nice and tight, very professional. Because we're going to paint this panel that really cool color that they picked out. But this is going to change because we're shaving off, we're pushing this in, we're shaving it off and putting it in. The tool that I'm using to do that this is what it looks like. And then what I'm doing is I'm just taking this and I'm going from the top and I'm just dragging this down, and it's scribing a line. And then pretty much I take a razor. Now this is very tedious, but the result is incredible. So, and you're going to shave off that much every single time that you're pushing this into the wall. And then eventually the contour up here at the top is going to match, and right here. Now typically you'll see vans where they'll kind of, I want to call it cheating. It's okay to do it, but they'll actually just make this top part flat so you don't have to do this top contour because it's very hard. But I want this up here because I want the microwave to go as high as possible up here, so we can actually make sure our fridge is off the ground as much as we want it to be. But the beauty of using this method is once I get this perfect, I just jump over to my saw. I cut one piece of wood out. And then the only thing I have to do to make sure that my piece of wood, so before I cut this contour, the only thing I have to do is I take a tape measure, and since I don't have one, let's use a square. And so the only thing I'm going to do, let's see what you guys can see here. All right, let me move the camera down because this is not going to make sense. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a tape measure, and we need to measure from the back of this bottom wall, which is our furthest point out, to our desired location here. So that's why I said this part of the foam doesn't matter, because our reference point is going to be at the bottom of this. Once we get this, we're going to shave this probably 2 more times, and it's going to fit perfectly in here. Once it fits perfectly in here, we'll measure from there back, and currently we are at 22.5 inches. So 22.5 inches back is where we're going to be, because we have a 1/2 inch panel face frame that's going on the face. So that'll be 23 inches. And so we get 23 inches in that depth. And that's going to allow us to have enough depth for our refrigerator and still have room for it to breathe in the back. So we kind of have all these things that are lining up. But that reference is, visualize this. You have a piece of plywood, and you just rip it right down the side and make sure that it's, let's just say it's 23 inches, right? So we want a 23 by 8 foot piece of plywood. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take this piece of foam. That reference point is going to go to the edge of the plywood, square it off, trace this outside. Don't even worry about this side. Trace this side, cut it with your jigsaw. This side is going to be exactly at 23 because you didn't remove any additional material. And that's how you do a custom panel, or that's how I do a custom panel, if that makes sense. So a lot of time goes right here, but then it's I don't know, it might take you 15 minutes to cut the panel. So that we did that to this one, and then I've also done it to the one in the back. But yes, that's pretty much an update. I don't want to reveal too much stuff because it's going to be exciting as we get going here. Okay, I'll show you one more thing here. Try not to show all the secrets right now until we do the reveal. So I'm going to move this panel out of the way and to show you the back panel, because the back panel contour is done. And that way you can actually see what it looks like. So let's come up here. Okay. So let's zoom in. And I'm going to turn this light off. I think it's, here we go. Okay, so that is the panel. You can kind of see how challenging this is, because you've got your ceiling, it's just a weird curve, and then you've got the panel coming down here. So this panel is ready to go. So I'm probably going to cut this out first thing tomorrow. But what we have is we had the notches cut out for where our rib nuts are bolting that board that is also securing our EcoFlow and all that good stuff. And then as well as the little bump out for the little Ford thing. And then we've got all of our communication cables. So power for the microwave, power for the refrigerator, and then we got our communication cables for EcoFlow and our Webasto. So everything's there. the board behind it, that's going to be the surprise because I'm actually going to be painting that tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. That is the divider between the garage and the kitchen area. Yeah, so once that's painted, that is going to be in place permanently. And that will be, we'll actually build to that piece of wood. So we'll actually build off of it. So the microwave and the fridge are actually going to be built off of that on the right, as well as the kitchen gallery is going to be built off of that on the left. And so it'll all kind of be one unit, almost like one structure, if that makes sense. All right, so let me zoom out and sign off from this because I need to finish this panel before I head out. All right, so if you guys are doing this, just don't forget, put these pieces of tape here so you can get your reference. Keep your holes right here flexible so when we mount all this together, it looks nice and clean. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I don't know if you can see my head in this shot, but thank you guys for watching this quick video. If you're not subscribed, get subscribed, hit that notification bell. I go live randomly, so don't want you guys to miss out. We're making our way here, so not very many live streams for the next 2 weeks here, but if I have something like this, I'll pause, record it, and as usual, if you have any questions, put those in the comments below, and I'll see you guys on the next live stream.